Hey class, Jim here. We're going to talk about OneNote. So OneNote is a Microsoft product that we will be using this semester for worksheets. And the whole point of these worksheets is that it's going to allow you to turn in some written work each week for me to look at and comment on. It's going to give you practice writing math. And it's actually a pretty slick piece of software. It's my favorite Microsoft piece of software. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now, the way it's going to work is that I'm going to add you to something that's called a class notebook. So a class notebook is a particular type of notebook within OneNote. So you can create private notebooks that only you can see. A class notebook is kind of a collaborative notebook. Now, when I add you to our class notebook, you're going to get an email, and you're going to get an email that is going to come from SharePoint. And it is going to go to your student email. That's your CCCS email, not D2L. And it's going to come from SharePoint. And there's going to be some other words and things after it. But the main thing is that if you searched your inbox for SharePoint, you will find it. It's going to go to your CCCS email. As soon as I do this, I'm going to do it probably today or tomorrow. And when you click on that link, it's going to invite you to our class notebook. It's going to look like this. You're going to get pulled into a web browser. All right, so this is the web browser view of our class notebook. Now, the web browser interface is very limited, and it's very hard to do things and have your formatting and whatever work. So you don't want to use the web browser version. You want to use the desktop version. And if you click over here and look down below, there it is. There's your desktop version. So once you've opened it, once you've opened our class notebook once in your desktop version, you never need to go back to the link in your inbox. You can just open up your desktop app and it will be there. Now, everybody has OneNote because it's part of Office 365. And as a student, you have 365. And if you, for whatever reason, aren't using it, to get to your Office 365, you're going to go to eWolf, and you will see a link in eWolf for Office 365. If you have any issues, send me an email, either through D2L or to jim.voss@frontrange.edu, and I will help you figure it all out if you have any issues. Most important thing, though, is that you're using the desktop app and not trying to do it through this browser interface. It's a pain in the neck through the browser. It will not be nearly as functional. Now, when you click on this, open in desktop app, here's what you're going to get. So now you're seeing our OneNote class notebook, and let me point out a bunch of stuff here. So this is our class, 144500 Spring 24. Here is our welcome page. I'm going to just scroll down. Oh, I guess I can't scroll down anymore. I can scroll over here, but not over here. So over here, you can see all these notebooks. These are notebooks from my other classes. This is a class I'm teaching in the classroom. Here's from last semester. This is from last semester. So you can accumulate notebooks over here, as many as you need or want. And here's how you navigate these notebooks. So here's the welcome page. I've got our schedule, because that's something that we are going to need, you're going to need to be very keenly aware of, because there are due dates, and those due dates are important to follow. So I have it broken up by week. So week 1, we start on a Tuesday. So all of the start dates are Tuesdays, and then everything's due the following Monday night by midnight. So our first week, you've got 2 sections of work to do. You'll have to do a homework for 6-1, a quiz for 6-1, a homework for 6-2, and a quiz for 6-2. And those are going to be in my math lab. And then you're going to have your OneNote worksheet for week 1. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to show you what the worksheet looks like. So our week 1 worksheet is right here. The first one's a pretty easy one. There's going to be an exercise on capturing images, you can use this TechSmith capture tool. Or if you just want to use, Windows now has a snipping tool built in. If you're on a Mac, you can do Command-Shift-5. There's all sorts of snipping tools these days. It used to be a big deal, not so much anymore. So many of you probably don't even want to bother downloading a new capture tool because you probably have one built in. So whatever. So you have to be able to capture images. So I just captured this image from our online textbook and pasted it here. OneNote is really good about pasting images and dragging images in. And then the second object is to make a graph in Desmos and then capture the graph and paste it in. Third step is to use the equation editor in OneNote. And so if you look up here, here's the equation editor. And if you're in the browser version, you are not going to see these fully functioning opportunities along that ribbon up there. So make sure you're in the desktop version. There's a built-in equation editor, very nice. If you happen to have a Mac, the Mac version of OneNote has not been updated in the last couple of years. So it's not going to be quite as simple on the Mac. But if you come over here into OneNote, in OneNote, and if you just click on this how-to video, I've got a Mac video here on how to use the equation editor in Mac. You have to be a little bit more savvy with the keyboard commands, but it will work totally fine. So, I was down in worksheets, so let's get back down there. And then you have one content question that's going to be regarding angular and linear velocity. And then I've got videos built in on how you do angular and linear velocity. Video right here on how you use the OneNote equation editor, video here on how you use Desmos. So I've tried to really scaffold it for you. And then you click, so this is the concept page. Each worksheet has a concept page and a questions page. So these little beige boxes are going to tell you, oh, okay, so go to worksheet 1, question 3. Worksheet 1, question 2. Worksheet 1, question 3. Down here, worksheet 1, question 4. So you come over here. There are your 4 questions for this week, for week 1. So let me just show you how easy it is to insert an image. So I'm just going to come over. Let me just see if I can pull this in. So I just have a folder here that's got a bunch of images. All I have to do is drag this image and drop it, and boom, there it went right there. But if I want to move it, I can move it right there. And notice that the sizing works great. It just moves things around very easily for you. So students do different things. What I recommend is inserting a picture of each of these things. And so, for example, if you want to insert your work here, you could come up here to draw and write right in here. That's absolutely fine. But one thing that happens is that sometimes when you're trying to put ink inside here, if I put the ink here, and then I drag an image in right here, the ink doesn't move with the page. So I find that a little bit annoying. So I find it easier to just insert images of everything. Always insert a picture, and then it's no big deal. So a lot of students will, you could actually come down below and do your work right here in pen, and then you could use your capture tool, whatever your capture tool happens to be. Like I'm just going to grab the Windows snipping tool and grab this. And then it's now on my clipboard. And so I'm going to move it out of the way. And if I come up here and I click, oops, I want to be the pen. I want to be that. And I click paste. Now the image is in there. And I don't have that same issue of the ink not moving with the page. So that's a pro tip, man. That is a pro tip. So you can absolutely just ink away in there. That's totally fine. But it's generally easier to use images. So just an FYI. And then the question that you're gonna have is, okay, well, where are these worksheets? So I haven't added you yet, so you don't see your names here. I'm gonna open up this notebook I have a few teachers in here. So if you look right here, this is a teacher, and inside of her, under her name, there are a couple of folders. One is called worksheets. So these are teachers that I have listed as students in this other class. And so this is what it's going to look like as soon as I add you to the OneNote class notebook. And so you'll just come down. You won't see everybody else. You'll only see your name. And I'll drop these worksheets one at a time right into that worksheet folder. So as you see your name and you click on your worksheets folder, you will see this worksheet. You'll see this and this. I'll distribute those first. And then once you turn those in, those are, if you look at our schedule, so on the 22nd, your OneNote worksheet is due by midnight. So once that due date is met, I can lock them. I'll lock the worksheets. And then what I'll do is distribute the key. So here's the key. So right there, I'll show you how you do each one of the problems. So let's go to week 2. So here are the concepts in week 2. There's 2 questions for you to answer. Here are the 2 questions. You can ink in here, or you can be clever and ink somewhere else and then take a snip of it. Or you can do work on a piece of white paper if you want, and then take a photo with your phone and drop it right in. The OneNote app on the phone actually works pretty darn well, and you can drop images right in pretty quickly. Otherwise, maybe you have to email it to yourself and then drop it in. Whatever, it's not too bad. So that's how it will work, though. And when you're in here, you can click the enter bar if you need more space. There's also a clever way, if you look up here to this insert space thing, if you're trying to delete spaces, you can just use this draggy thing, and you can either click high and make it bigger, or click low and make it smaller, so you can move stuff around pretty easily. So, overview again. As soon as I add you to the notebook, you'll get an email in your student email, not D2L, in your student email. You click on the link, it's going to send you to a web version of our class notebook. You're going to click the drop down and open it in the desktop app. You're going to see your name over here on the left, kind of like we see these names. And if you open it up, you're going to see your worksheet folder. I will grade right in the worksheet folder, and you'll see my comments right in your worksheet folder. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's how the worksheets are going to work. Now, OneNote is way easier to use than D2L. You can see everything all at once. So in D2L, you can ask questions in D2L in the discussion board, or if you want, you can ask them here. So I've got a little instruction here. All you need to do is come in, so if you have a question in week 1, come in here, change the title, tell me the question number, 6.2, number 5. And then down here, tell me what your question is. Use your snipping tool to take a picture of the MyMathLab question you have a question on, or whatever. Use the equation editor. Let's see, it's under Insert. The equation editor, if you want to type an equation in here, no problem, whatever you want. So you're more than welcome to ask questions in D2L or right here. I think it's pretty slick right here. And then if these 3 get filled, all we have to do is click Add Page, and it's going to add a page way down here, and I'm just going to drag it right up here. I'll try to stay on top of this so you don't have to deal with this. But you can add pages really easily. All right, so that's one cool thing. Now here are all the things that we have in D2L, I have here as well. I just find it easier in here. So here are introductions right here. If you click on that, it's going to open up our Padlet. Double click on the background, and then you can enter a little biography about yourself. How-to videos. The D2L overview videos right there, my MathLab overview. So everything is, I'm building that one right now, so it's not there. So these are all little videos on how to do things. Much easier to navigate than in D2L, where you have to, you gotta do a lot of clicking in D2L to get to stuff. Here are some course handouts. Again, our schedule. Here's the syllabus for the course. When you take your written exams, you're allowed to use a note card. If you don't feel like having a physical note card, a literal note card, you can print out this piece of paper and fill in these 2 boxes. This represents 2 sides of a 3x5 note card. These are some blank unit circles so that you can practice your unit circle. That's going to be a fundamental concept that you have to learn. Here are some completed unit circles for your reference. Here are video examples that I have for, lots of different, not every section, but most sections I've done at least one video for. So if you're working in let's say 8.5, click here. It's going to open up a YouTube video, blah, blah, blah. It's going to
Hey class, Kim here.
I'll be walking you through how to do a problem. So these are, videos I've made that you can use for help. We have 2 written exams that are midterms and then a written exam that's a final. Here's the study guide for exam 1. I've got questions embedded inside each section. The idea would be that you try to answer those and do those, and then here's the study guide answer key. So here are the answers to all those questions. And then once exam 1 is done, I'll post a key here, study guide for exam 2, answers to study guide 2. Once exam 2 is done, I'll paste the key there, blah, blah, blah. Same old thing. Now, some of you are going to opt to choose to test at a testing center. Here are the this is Math Center, sorry, not testing center. But if you want to test at a testing center, that's totally fine instead of testing at home. It's up to you. If you test from a testing center, I will return your exams to you through OneNote. So I will grade them and hand them back. There'll be another folder in here called something else. I haven't built it yet, so it'll be called something different. Maybe it'll be under other. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll tell you. But your exams, if you take them at the testing center, I will return them through OneNote. And let's see, Math Centers. Westminster, that's the campus I'm at. Here is the Math Center schedule. If you're a Westminster student, come on down. I'm in here on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Come and see me. If you're at the Larimer campus, click here and you'll find the schedule for the Larimer campus. Boulder County campus, click there and you'll get the schedule for Boulder County. We also have an online Math Center right there. Click on that. You can make an appointment and see what's available. So lots of resources for you. I want to explain another thing about OneNote. So OneNote has different what are they called? Permissions. So if you look at this collaborative space here, this is literally collaborative. This means that you can write in here, I can write in here. So we can all write in here. Content library is my space. I can write in here, but you can't. All you have permission to do is read. So this space here under content library, you can't do any editing or any writing or anything like that. And then I have my private space, which is called the teacher space. You folks can't see that. And then you all have your private space. This is your private space, or maybe I should say private-ish space, because I can see it and you can see it, but no other students can see it. So if you want to use your other folder here just to do random things, totally fine. Your worksheet folder, anything you do in these 2 spaces, I can come and see, but no other students can see. So that's pretty cool. And at the end of the semester, what you can do is export this class notebook, and you can, let's see, I can't remember exactly how to do it off the top of my head, but you can take this notebook and you can export it to your personal OneDrive account and have access to it for the rest of your life if you want. So that's kind of cool that you can take our entire semester within this OneNote notebook, this class notebook, and you can take it with you because it's really easy to navigate. And it's kind of a convenient interface for doing college work. But as the semester comes to an end, if you do want to save our class notebook, I'll figure it out. I just can't remember off the top of my head how you do it, but it's possible for you to export it and save it, which is kind of neat. Let's see. Other things with OneNote. That's all I can think of for now. There's a lot of cool features up here, so you just play around in it. You can always go, so in your private space, if you come up here, if you wanted to, you can always add extra pages in here and do whatever you want. Try different things. Play with the insert menu. There's a lot of things that you can do with the insert menu. The draw menu, use the pens and the highlighters. Let's see, what other interesting thing? Those are the most interesting things. So let me know if you have any questions as you start playing around with this. All right. Good luck.